Let's look at this issue involving Fulani Militias. Of course, the situation where they have suffered double jeopardy. One has to do with the Air Force, of course, targeting and neutralizing scores of them. The second one has to do with the reported arrest of the commander of Mahmuda terrorist group. Of course, it will interest you to know that these two developments just happened almost the same time. I'll bring you the details of all of this. But before we do that, let us quickly watch this strange video, of course, of a Fulani jihadist. Will I say jihadist or a former jihadist who have confessed? Just watch and see what he's saying as we come back to further this conversation.
I come from northern part of Nigeria, Kaduna State. I grew up as a Muslim, and today I want to confess. I grew up to be a fighter of Islamic Jihad. I grew up in Jama'ah Road, Kaduna State. I was the member of the Islamic Brothers. That means the Muslim Brothers in Kaduna State. Excuse my English. I did not go to school based on where I come from, Kaduna State. I fight Islamic Jihad when I was young. Whatsoever my leaders, the prominent people in the society today in Kaduna State say, tell me to do, that is what we used to do. Whatsoever those leaders told us to do, that is what we used to do. I never knew that I am doing something very wrong in my life. Today, I tell you the truth. My past is affecting my life today. I have no peace. I want to tell you the truth of my life. If you don't know me, some people know me as Zulu B19. Some people know.
So having listened to him, I think it's becoming very clear what type of society we are as a people. And I think the government must wake up to its responsibility of protecting lives and property. And of course, the most important thing at this point is that the citizens must be integrated into the security architecture. That is the way we can get a headway in solving most of all this problem. But meanwhile, let us look at this first one that is saying that yesterday, the Nigerian Air Force appeared as an uninvited guest at a terrorist wedding held in their enclave with a large amount of fireworks, burning them beyond recognition, giving them a proper start to their honeymoon. He said today DSS operators captured Abubakar Mahmuda. We shall bring you details of that one as well. But meanwhile, I think this is getting interesting because so that Nigerians can heave a sigh of relief. We understand that the activities of these terrorist organizations is already a serious issue for Nigeria, and the way it is, Nigerians will welcome anything that help the country or rather the society to get rid of all these people who are causing problems here and there. And as it stands, we have seen so many instances where Nigerians in different parts of the country will be rising to demand the eviction of Fulani, of course, Fulani herdsmen, because in a way they are equally linked to violence activities in their different host communities. But this one is saying that it's a breaking news. Mahmuda terrorist group leader has been captured in Kwara State. You go for that to say that Kwara Niger towns jubilates over DSS reported capture of Mahmuda terrorist group leader. Residents of communities in Kwara and Niger states bordering Benin Republic are silently jubilating following the development. However it is, I want to believe that Nigerians will welcome anything that will give them a sigh of relief, of course, as it has to do with the Fulani Militias. Because as it is, what we hitherto hear happen in the north is already here with us in the southern part of the country, talking about kidnapping, talking about Fulani Militia, talking about the activities and excesses of Fulani herdsmen. I think that even best explains the reason the communities that are currently yearning for the eviction of Fulani herdsmen is on increase. I think the most recent one happened in Ueli in Delta State, where the women rose, of course, made a very big demand that the Fulani herdsmen should be made to leave their locality. It is very important for us to know that this one is no longer about whether you have right of movement. If you have right of movement and your movement is already a threat to people who you are coming to hibernate in the environment, I think the society must rise and address it. Because only recently, we even saw a situation where even Fulani, under the umbrella of Fulani Militias in the eastern part of the country, I think that happened last year, where they rose and demanded, or rather requested, that the Southeast governors should allow them form vigilante group in the eastern part of the country. You begin to wonder, how will someone who is alien to an environment be making such demand? We equally understand that even the national chairman of Militias, talking about Bodejo, is in custody of federal government, as he was accused of banditry. I'm not saying he's convicted and not indicted him because he has not been tried and found wanted by any court of competent jurisdiction. But the point is, the accusation borders on the man getting involved in banditry. And before now, there was another accusation against him, where he was accused of forming vigilante group, arming them without the consent of federal government. So the question here is, why is all of this associated with Fulani herdsmen? I think if I will even encourage Mr. President, talking about Senator Ahmed Bola Tinubu, to use the good office to make sure that we properly restructure this country. Restructure to the point where the regions, or rather the states, whichever federating unit we are restructuring it to, should have the ability to police themselves, should have their policing system. I understand that if you go back to even the Abuja Accord, that Gowon never allowed to see the light of the day, it was purely a restructured Nigeria. Because in the Abuja Accord, it was already contained that the police will be decentralized. Even the military will be decentralized. So if Gowon had allowed that Abuja Accord to stand, I don't think anybody will be coming today to start discussing issue of essence of Fulani herdsmen and all of that. And the most concerned issue has to do with any time you talk about this issue of Fulani Militias, you talk about state police, you see Fulani rising up to resist the creation of state police. You begin to wonder, if everybody have agreed that the Secretary of Treasury should be rejected, if everybody have agreed that we should incorporate the locals into the secretarial arrangement, and a state governor, because I understand that it was the Plateau State governor that made that demand, where the Militias in his community or his state were right to say, no, we are against the creation of state police. You begin to wonder, why will someone be resisting state police? So you're going to show that they know where the problem is. You're going to show that they are actually the problem. And as such, the government, as far as I'm concerned, should put in every effort to ensure that they make it happen. Talking about that state police. Because even all the effort of federal government trying to make the states come up with forest guards, I understand that the issue have taken some time, and we have not yet seen the state government rising to the occasion to even come up with the recruitment. Because as at the last count, federal government told, or rather directed the state governments, that they should recruit between 2,000 and 5,000 personnel, depending on their financial capacity. But the question is, what is delaying the state governments from kickstarting the process? Because if you as a governor, you know that it behoves on you to protect lives and property. You know that it is incumbent on you to protect lives and property. Having sworn to an oath to protect lives and property, because the constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is very clear. Particularly Section 14, subsection 2B, says that the welfare of the people and their security shall be the primary purpose of governance. So it means the responsibility to police to protect lives and property rests on the shoulder of the governor. So why will the governor be delaying this approach that seek to address this issue of insecurity? I equally note with concern the statement that came from the Zamfara State governor. Of course, that is the major reason the governors should even key into this faster. A situation where he lamented about the inability of the governor to address issue of insecurity owing to the limitation of his powers. They are talking about the command and control of Nigerian security architecture. We understand that it comes from Abuja down to the bottom. And as we speak, you can, as the governor do not command the commissioner of police in his state. The governor do not command the director of DSS in his state. The military formation in the state is not under the control and command of the governor. Now, there is approach to come about forest guard that will be formidable enough to address this security, and by our understanding, the federal government is already willing to allow them to be armed. So why would the state governments be delaying in keying into it? The situation, just like I said, where like the Zamfara State governor already lamented his inability to address insecurity owing to the limitation of his powers as a governor. So the point is, the federal government and state governments should, as a matter of urgency and necessity, kickstart this process and ensure that they integrate the locals into it. Ensure that the traditional rulers are adequately and appropriately integrated into it. Because one thing is certain, if the locals are finding it difficult to divulge actionable intelligence to the security agencies, they will not find it difficult to divulge such information to their traditional rulers, who of course would be confident, who of course it will be confident for him to relate with the security agencies. And once that happen, of course, it will aid in nipping crime in the bud. I must say that until we get to the level where the security forces where the communities, the locals have confidence in the police, in the army, in DSS, in all the security agencies generally, it will be, until we get to that level, it will be difficult to deal with crimes, because all crime is local. The locals will have better intelligence that will actually be necessary to fight any type of crime that is localized. So if the locals are not divulging such information, it's a problem. And the only way they can divulge such information is if they have confidence in the security agencies. Needless going into the issue, because we understand that if the confidence existed, there was no basis for which anyone would go and start lynching those who were arrested alive. Understand that the Edo issue happened where the community leaders or community vigilante group arrested some persons alive who were going from Kano to Port Harcourt or so. But the point is, if they had the confidence that when handed over to police that they will get justice, I don't think they will go ahead to take the laws into their hands. So the bottom line is, the government, particularly the police, must work hard to build confidence in the public. Thank you very much. This is Lamida Samat.